So welcome to my warm, windy wooden wagon in Brandenburg. It's a beautiful day, the door's open, the windows are open, but it's very windy. It reminds me a little of the old Hollywood movies in the days of Chaplin and Keaton and Arbuckle, when they used to build their sets outside so they could use the light of the sun. And if they were filming interior shots, such as a lounge or a kitchen or shop or some stairs, then they would cover them over with great sheets of cloth so that the sunlight wasn't too bright. And if it was windy, that blew in the wind, and sometimes it opened up and the sun came through a gap and you could see it. If you look closely in those films, you often see it. So one of the best things I find about being a storyteller is discovering new stories. And last year I was in Africa and I discovered some great stories, and this is one of them. It's about a tortoise who loved potatoes. Once, not twice, not thrice, there was a tortoise who loved to eat potatoes. And one day he called out to his wife. He said, "Wife, I'm hungry, cook me some potatoes." And his wife called back, "No can do, tortoise, not possible." "Why ever not?" he said. "Because," she said, "there's no salt, and you cannot cook potatoes without salt." "Fair enough, then I'll go and get some from the shop." "But it's Sunday," she said, "the shops are all closed." "Well, then I'll go and get some from the neighbour." "I borrowed some salt from the neighbour just a week ago and we haven't given it back yet." "Then I shall go and see my brother." "But your brother lives a long way away." "No matter, I shall go and see my brother. I want my potatoes." So off he set. Tortoise was never fast at the best of times, and today he was particularly slow. But he walked and walked and walked, and slowly but surely he came to the house of his brother, where he knocked on the door. Bum, bum, bum. Brother opened the door and saw Tortoise and said, "Brother, I haven't seen you for such a long time. What brings you here?" "Potatoes," said Tortoise. "Potatoes? Well, I'm sorry," said the brother. "I don't have any potatoes." No, said Tortoise. "I have potatoes, but I have no salt with which to cook them. So could you please give me some salt?" "Then you'd better come in." When they got inside, the brother gave him some salt and said, "But you have a problem here. The problem is, how are you going to carry the salt back? You see, your feet are too small and you need them to walk." This is true. Tortoise was slow at walking, but fast at thinking. "I know," said Tortoise. "I'll take a big leaf, I'll wrap the salt in the big leaf, and then with a piece of string I'll attach it to my neck and I'll drag it home." So that's what he did. On the way back he walked and walked and walked, dragging along this bag of salt wrapped in a leaf behind him. It was quite tiring. So after a while he was so tired that he thought he'd have a quick nap. So he settled down, put his head on his feet and fell asleep. A while later he woke up and prepared himself to walk off, but couldn't move. Something was holding him back. He looked behind him and saw that on the bag of the salt was a lizard holding on to it very, very tightly. Tortoise looked at Lizard and said, "Get off my salt." "No," said Lizard, "and in any case it's not your salt." "Of course it's my salt. I got it from my brother." No, it's my salt." "How'd you work that out?" "Because I own it. I've got it in my arms. Possession is 9/10 of the law." "But it's my salt." "But I found it. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers." "Don't be so silly. Get off so I can go home. I want my potatoes." But the lizard didn't move. He held on tight to the bag of salt, and Tortoise tried to pull, but he couldn't pull the salt and the lizard as well. "Get off my salt." "It's not your salt, it's my salt." "Get off my salt. It's tied to my neck. It belongs to me." "It's my salt. I found it." Of course, after a while, other animals came round and heard these two arguing about the possession of the salt and started to take sides. One or two animals said, "Well, the tortoise is right, you know, it is tied to his neck. No, the lizard has it in his arms. He found it. If the tortoise was so careless as to leave it lying around." And this argument went on and on and on, and nobody could find a resolution. The baboon came sauntering along, and they looked at the baboon. "Baboon, you're wise. Tell us, who owns this salt?" The baboon went and looked at Tortoise, looked at Lizard, and weighed up the situation. He sniffed around and prodded around and poked around. "Tortoise, you are indeed tied to the salt, so therefore the salt is yours. But Lizard, you are indeed holding on to the salt, so therefore the salt is also yours. I suggest that we take a very sharp knife and we cut this bag of salt into 2 pieces, 50-50. One can have one half, the other can have the other half." The suggestion was accepted by all parties. Tortoise begrudgingly, Lizard happily. So it was that Lizard, with his very deft fingers, could hold on to his bag of salt and take it home. But Tortoise, who dragged the bag along, got home and found that all of the salt had gone. He was most upset. He locked himself in his room and wouldn't come out. He was so angry, first with himself and then with the lizard. He was so angry with Lizard that he decided he would get some revenge. But how? Slow at walking, quick at thinking, Lizard went to his wife and said, "I'm going out." And off he walked, and he walked, and he walked, and he walked, until he found Lizard. And he found Lizard asleep on the side of the road. And immediately Tortoise jumped onto his back and grabbed hold of him very tightly. Lizard woke up with a shock, looked at Tortoise and said, "What are you doing? Get off my back." "Sorry, I can't get off your back. It's not your back, it's my back." "What do you mean?" "I found it lying around." "But it's my back. It's attached to me." No, it's my back. I found it." "It's my back. How can it be your back? It's my back. I've had it all my life." "Yes, but I've got it now. Possession is 9/10 of the law. That's what you said. And you also said finders, keepers, losers, weepers. But don't be silly. It's my back. It's part of me." "Ah, yes, but I own you now." And this argument went on and on and on. And all of the animals came around to get involved. Some took the side of the lizard, some took the side of the tortoise, but nobody found the resolution until Baboon came along. "Baboon, you solved the problem last time. Once again, we need your help. Come and have a look." Baboon came and saw Lizard lying there underneath Tortoise, and saw Tortoise lying there on top of Lizard. "Well, it does seem to me that this back does belong to Lizard, but Lizard seems to belong to Tortoise. So I suggest we do what we did last time. Let us get a sharp knife and cut Lizard into 2 pieces, and he can have one half and Tortoise can have the other half." And that's what they did. Tortoise was very happy to have his revenge. Lizard was less so. In fact, Lizard was less.